Good morning, good afternoon. I had gotten some questions about some of our assignment, I believe from week 2, which was patterns in parabola shapes. So this was from IM2 week 2 and some of the Khan Academy questions. This is the questions that we kind of struggled as a class the most with, so I thought I would just go through them. So this one says graph a parabola whose vertex is at 3, 5 with a y-intercept at y equal to 1. So let's just first start off by plotting both these points. The vertex is the highest point or the lowest point. So the highest point and lowest point here is going to be x is 3, and y is 5. So you just see where those link up. So your parabola will go through that point, and it has a y, so that's going to be either the high point or the low point. And the y-intercept at 1. So the y-intercept would be 1 right here. So your parabola, keep in mind that the vertex is either a high point or a low point. Vertex is either a high point or a low point. Now for this, it can't be a low the lowest point because the y-intercept is lower. So we're going to assume that the vertex for this problem is going to be a high point, So our parabola shape would just kind of open up. It would look something like this. That's really ugly, but that's the way it would open up. So you would drag and drop your parabola to make it look like this. This was one of the questions that I think 8 of the students got wrong when they went to answer it. All right, the next one, a parabola intersects the x-axis at 3 and 9. What is the x-coordinate of the parabola's vertex? Now, here's the thing. We have to kind of draw this. So I'm trying to think of the easiest way to draw it. Let's put in a picture. So let's put in our axis and let's just kind of start, let's draw it out. So our x-intercepts, it has intersects the x-axis, that's the x-axis, the horizontal axis at 3, and then at 9. Okay, that's where it's going to intersect. And the parabola is either going to open up or it's going to open up. Now parabolas have this thing where they are symmetric. And usually when we draw some lines of symmetry, we do it with the dotted lines, right? So they're symmetric, meaning that you could divide them in half, and the point where you divide them in half, this is not a perfect graph, I'm using my mouse here. The high point, that is going to be the vertex, which is saying what is the x-coordinate of the parabola's vertex? The vertex is going to be at that kind of halfway point. So you want to think, what is the halfway point? So the vertex, all right, the vertex is at the halfway point between 3 and 9. So what is the halfway point between 3 and 9? So we can just, like for real, I mean, just to be real with it, let's just count. So 1, 2, 3 hops to get, to this center point. Let's go 3 hops the other direction, 3 hops. 1, 2, 3 hops right there. So the vertex is going to be somewhere along this center point. Let's use a different color. Somewhere along there. That should be a straight line, and it's not. We can do better. Come on, Sarah, let's do better. So our vertex is going to be somewhere along this line, okay? So when we go to draw our parabola, let's make it nice and parabola-like. Maybe the vertex is here. It's going to go up and then down like that, okay? That's going to be our parabola. Man, I'm feeling like that's real wide there, okay? So the vertex is going to be halfway in between. So what is that point? 3, 4, 5, 6, right? If we were going to count it out. 3, 4, 5, 6. So the vertex point would be at 6. And I was noticing a lot of students got this one 7, 8, 9. I can't count. So at 6 is where that vertex point would be. All right, let's take a look at our last one. Graph a parabola whose x-intercepts are -3 and 5 and whose minimum value is -4. So a vertex, remember from before, a vertex, okay, is a high point, or a low point. So another word we can use to talk about high points or low points, a low point is a minimum. Okay, we hear minimum, sometimes we talk about minimum wage, that's the lowest that an employer is supposed to pay you, okay, and then maximum, okay, maybe that's like the maximum number of free throws someone made in one game, the highest point. So just to kind of visualize what those things mean. So x-intercepts are -3 and 5, so let's draw that. So -3 is here, and 5 is here, and the maximum value is where y is 9. So y is -4. I can't read. Okay, -4. So we want to look at the y-axis all the way down here, all the way down here. The minimum value is at -4. Okay. So that means that -4 value, your parabola is going to go down here. Now we learned in the last problem that parabolas are what? Parabolas are, begins with an S. Let's see if we can think of it. It's S. Think about S. There's two M's in it. T, R, I, C, right? They're symmetric. Okay? Meaning that the halfway between the x-intercepts, you're going to have your high point or low point. So we have to count out where's our halfway. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's count that way, and let's count this way. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the halfway point, the low point is going to be like right about there. Okay, because 1 is halfway between -3 and 5. Okay, so your parabola looks something like this. Okay, all right, that one was kind of tricky. Let's just kind of recap that while we have the time. So the x-intercepts are at -3 and 5. So you apply your x-intercepts, -3 and 5. Okay, and there is a draw feature that you guys can use on your Khan Academy, right? And then you have to think, well, the minimum value is the maximum. So the minimum value is the maximum. So the minimum, and they even give you a hint y. So where is y -4? That's right here. So somewhere along this -4 line, right? No matter where, if you're driving a car, no matter where you are, you're at -4 if you're down here, okay? Because that's your height of your car. It might go up. It might, go down, but if it's at -4, that's the lowest it's going to be. And then you want to find the halfway point. Okay, so to find that one, we said, what is halfway between my x-intercepts? We asked ourselves that question, and we counted to find it, right? We counted. We said, well, if we count this way 4 and we count the left 4, we get to this middle point, all right? And then our middle point's going to be somewhere along this line, so where the yellow line and the purple line here meet up, that's where our low point is. Okay? I hope this was helpful.